January 6th, FBI Informants Exposed.
Mr. Reagan.
Don't forget to buy my t-shirts and mugs. They are the best designed Trump mugshot mugs and t-shirts available. And hey, if you don't want the mugshot one, just get one of my regular Mr. Reagan things. You can support the channel and look awesome at the same time. All right, let's get going. Miranda Devine comes through again. According to this article, Stephen D'Antuono, I believe you pronounce his name that way, the man who was previously in charge of the Bureau's Washington field office, has spilled the beans behind closed doors to the House Judiciary Committee. He's let the cat out of the bag. He's the fat lady and he is singing. That is the wrong metaphor, but you get the idea. Anyway, I'm going to read this explosive article in one moment. First, of course, I have to sell you something. The US dollar has lost 85% of its value since the 1970s when the dollar decoupled from gold. And the government seems bent on continuing this tradition. From now until the next election, the government can print as much money as they want. The last time they did that, inflation went up 9%. This means one thing: the security of your future and your family's future, it's all in your hands. Make sure you freeze the value of the wealth that you are holding. Invest in gold with Noble Gold Investments. Gold is the one asset that is proven to withstand recession, inflation, and just about all economic threats. Noble Gold Investments is here to help you if you want to invest in gold. You will also get a 24 karat 1/4 ounce gold standard coin for free. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com right now, noblegoldinvestments.com, or simply call 1-877-646-5347, the only gold company that I trust. All right, so this article is headlined, "The FBI lost count of how many paid informants were at the Capitol on January 6th and later performed an audit to figure out the exact number," says an ex-official. The FBI had so many paid informants at the Capitol on January 6, 2021 that it lost track of the number and had to perform a later audit to determine exactly how many confidential human sources run by different FBI field offices were present that day. A former assistant director of the Bureau has told lawmakers. At least one informant was communicating with his FBI handler as he entered the Capitol, according to Stephen D'Antuono, formerly in charge of the Bureau's Washington field office. D'Antuono has testified behind closed doors to the House Judiciary Committee that his office was aware before the riot that some of their informants would attend the Stop the Steal rally thrown by former President Donald Trump, but he only learned after the fact that the informants run by other field offices also were present, along with others who had participated of their own accord. The Washington field office had to ask FBI headquarters to do a poll or about something to people saying, were any CHSs involved, confidential human sources, he said, so that they could get a handle on the scale of the FBI's spying operations on the Capitol that day. We started getting responses back from FBI headquarters, added D'Antuono, which helped identify which field offices had planted confidential informants in the crowd. One paid informant from the Kansas City field office was at the Capitol as the crowd surged inside and allegedly was in communication with his FBI handler while they were in the crowd, I think, saying that they were going in, according to the former Bureau brass. They were trying to stop some of the action happening, and they left or whatnot. Trying to stop some of the action happening. That sounds like BS to me. That sounds like he just made that up on the spot to try to make the confidential informants look like they were the good guys, when in reality they were probably agents provocateur. They were probably agitators. Let's keep going. Asked how many informants the audit discovered were in the crowd that day, D'Antuono would only say a handful. Look, the truth is we've actually known about this for years. I made several videos about the fake protesters in the crowd.
They are trying to burn down our Capitol, and I did not come here for that. It ain't patriots up there anymore. If you go look, they look like Antifa. They don't look like me. They don't look like you guys. I see a lot of women. I see a lot of kids. Get your families home. Get out of here.
Now, these videos have been censored, shadow banned, and even deleted by YouTube, because I'm a conspiracy theorist or something. But look, now we have testimonial evidence confirming that this is absolutely true. We conservatives, we have been harassed by social media companies for so long. We've been targeted for shadow bans and censorship. We have been proved right once again. But we actually already had confirmation. It just wasn't this explicit. Almost 1 year ago, Director Wray was asked about this, and he revealed the truth very clearly by refusing to answer the question.
Director Wray, did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters on January 6th of 2021?
Well, Congressman, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I have to be very careful about what I can say about when
Even
we are,
now, because that's what you told us 2 years ago.
May I finish? About when we do and do not, and where we have and have not used confidential human sources. But to the extent that there's a suggestion, for example, that the FBI's confidential human sources or FBI employees in some way instigated or orchestrated January 6th, that's categorically false.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no. Can you not tell the American people, no, we did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol on
Gentleman's
January
time
the 6th?
has expired.
You should not read anything into my decision not to share information
Director Ray,
about confidential human
gentleman's
sources.
time has expired.
Oh, yeah, we're sorry. We can't be transparent with the American people about us targeting you and sending you to prison because, it would compromise our sources and methods and all that kind of nonsense. Look, Christopher Wray, you cannot target the American people, innocent people, and then hide behind some kind of bureaucratic red tape BS. I think Christopher Wray needs to go to prison, to be perfectly honest. That's what I think. And look, we don't even know how many other agencies were using confidential human sources or what I would call agents provocateur in the crowd. We don't know. We only know that there's FBI guys. These are the only people that we have confirmation of from this kind of evidence, this witness testimony. However, we do have body cam footage from a couple of police officers.
Help him up! Help him up! Help him up! Hold on, wait! Push him up! Push him up! Help me, Brendan! Come on, let's go. Leave it. Everyone in the fucking house.
And this is all sounding more and more like the Whitmer case all of those years ago. I believe that everybody that's currently convicted of crimes from the January 6th protest, these people were all victims of entrapment. And look, there's a much more important question here, a much bigger question. Were these operatives actually agitators, instigators, as I like to call them, agents provocateur? We know that Ray Epps was one, and we have called out the absurdity of the government hiding his agent provocateur status from the very start. Now, nobody knows for sure whether Ray Epps was working for the FBI or the CIA or the NSA or some other agency, whether it was for Hillary or Pelosi or the deep state or maybe even a third-party group or somebody else in conjunction with all these people. And we absolutely need that question answered. What we know is that he was an agitator. Clearly, he was working against Donald Trump, against the protesters that day, and against the American people in order to create the illusion of an insurrection so that Donald Trump would be prohibited from running for president ever again. What's funny is that because Epps was identified in public and called out, he has just been indicted on the weakest charge ever issued for any of the J6 protesters, a slap on the wrist disorderly conduct charge in order to pretend that he has been charged just like every other January 6th protester. It is laughable. But look, the big question here is how many other Ray Eppses were there, and were any of the window breakers or any of those who scuffled with police or engaged in acts of vandalism or stole things, were any of them these agitators, were any of these people FBI guys? Because all of these relatively insignificant acts, these are the things that caused gullible Democrat voters to accept the term insurrection. And the term insurrection is what got Trump impeached and now indicted. And it's what they're trying to use as justification to keep him off the ballots in 2024. I mean, this was no insurrection, obviously. But if we can prove that it was FBI folks or agitators brought in from elsewhere who committed all these minor crimes, we could prove that it truly was a peaceful protest. And moreover, we could prove that any appearance of an insurrection was orchestrated by the FBI. Exactly what we've been speculating about for the past 2 years. This was a psyop. It was a psychological operation specifically designed to convince the American people that Donald Trump incited an insurrection. And it was done specifically to prohibit him from running for president ever again in America. And now we finally have some concrete witness testimony confirming this. Hopefully, the truth about that day will soon be fully exposed, and we can hold the perpetrators of this psyop accountable. But then again, I'm not holding my breath. Okay, now go buy my t-shirts. Go buy my mugs. The link for these things is in the description below. Until next time, remember, it's not that all liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man.